Welcome, everybody. If you are live, this is the first edition of Couples Conversation or Couples Convo, which I call it. My name is Keith Dent, and I'm a relationship coach, blogger, hopefully author very soon. And we're going to have a very exciting time where we're going to talk about different topics in regards to conversation. We're going to go back and forth. And I have my co-host Aileen Dempsey with me, and we're just going to have a great time today. And this is basically come out of a kind of an opportunity where I would post questions online, and have just got a really wonderful responses from all of you. So we said, well, hey, let's try to do it live, mix it up a little bit. And Aileen has been just one of the very outspoken people on the question. So hey, we said, well, bring her up and we'll do this together and just see how it works. So we wanted to really talk about how how basically how this got started. Sorry about that. I've been a relationship coach for 7 years, just trying to help couples be their best self, and we, it's great to just do, really post questions that to get you to start to stop and think about how your relationship is going. And so, why do you think, why have you been so outspoken?
I think that a lot of the questions that you pose for Couples Convo really, as I went through them all, would make me stop and think about, relationships I've been in the past, my 16-year marriage, situations that my friends might be in. And so I try to look at it with a total objective view and give the best possible answer. And I just think having been through a lot and being considered a veteran in marriage, because most people don't stay married anymore, I wanted to be that voice, that outspoken voice for those people that are like youngish, like myself.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you're youngish?
Youngish. Okay. And, just give a voice to some women that might not want to say anything or are too afraid to say something. And, I'm never one to shy away from a tough question.
Right.
So.
Well, I beat you because I've been married 21 years.
Well, that's just great. I mean, I'll be there soon.
So I'm not youngish, but oldish.
You're oldish.
So,
I'm youngish. I'll be 17 years married in 24 days.
That's awesome.
So, but it doesn't come without, trials and tests and ups and downs. And, so the Couples Convo really puts it in a format where you can really, retrospectively think about it. So.
Right. Okay. That's great. And so basically how the format is going to go, hopefully we'll have a couple others that are going to join us. And I'll kind of act as a mediator because you know how people can fight. But for this first episode, we're going to just, the two of us are going to debate a few questions. We have our trusty little pile here. We're going to just, pick one and we're going to see how it goes. We'll have, I think we have a question of the week that we're going to debate and talk about, and then we may have a little fun at the end. So would you like to pick the first card? Ladies first.
Okay. And the question is,
yes,
who wins most arguments?
Wow.
Who
wins most arguments?
In my house, I would have to say me.
You have to say you, okay.
Yeah. And that's only because my husband doesn't speak. So I just win everything.
Oh.
He's very quiet.
Well, yeah, that'd be a problem.
He's very quiet. He doesn't speak a lot. And so when we argue, I am very loud and outspoken, as Keith has shared with you. And so I win. And when I'm done with the conversation is over, the argument is over, and I call that a win for me.
Yeah, but do you truly win?
Well, it depends on what you consider winning. Like, if I can get through everything that I want to say and put it all out on the table, regardless of how anybody feels when I'm finished, then that's a win for me, because I got to say everything I wanted to say. However, conversely, it could be a loss because now he might be feeling a way that I don't know, and he's not communicating with me.
And what if there's no movement in your win, and then you have to come back
Then that's
and
not
kind
a
of
win at all.
debate against. So it's not a win at all. So,
But it's a win in the moment.
but he could be a winner. So he did the stalemate. He could do the
He
stalemate
could.
thing.
He could have been in it for the war, and I could have just been in it for the battle. But
Right.
at
You
least
know?
I won the battle.
Okay, you won the battle. Okay.
I'm more about the instant, what can I get right now?
Right,
Like, so
right.
if I can win this battle right now, I'm good to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I would say my wife, she was the winner most of the times because her thinking is that she was definitely steps ahead of me and what I don't not necessarily what my response would be,
Right.
but where she wanted to go or where her thoughts were, where it took a little time maybe to gather my thoughts. You think
I think it's like that for most men.
you think men are just like that?
I think it is because I think men don't really know how to process as quickly as women do, because we're processing a lot of stuff like in milliseconds a day. We're taking in things from, especially if you're a mother and you work and you have a husband, so you really have 3 careers at that point.
Okay.
So you have to process information fast, and you're on different tracks every second of the day. Where the husband / father / career individual can really compartmentalize throughout the course of the day because they can be secure in the fact that they know their wife is handling the kids or that they're at work and then they can go hang out with their boys. And the wife is still thinking, okay, I got to do this, and then when I go to bed, I got to do this, and then when I got to wake up, I got to do this, and the guy is just thinking, I'm coming home and going to bed, and it's cool. So yeah, we process faster.
But couldn't that be a detriment because of the fact that women are thinking about so many different things all the time
Right.
and not stepping back to over one specific thing? Especially if you're arguing about, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and I was thinking that you should be doing this, and before they even have a chance to respond, right? About, oh, I already did that. But
Right.
did you? So.
I mean, it can cause problems. It could create additional problems. But again, that has to go towards the communication. Like if they're constantly having the same did you do, then the communication itself is a breakdown. So the woman or the man, is going to feel like they're miles ahead or miles behind based on that. But it can be a detriment. I think I've realized within the past year or so that because I think like that, that's a detriment for a lot of my relationships, not just marriage, just in general, work, friends, or what have you, because I'm thinking 10, 20 steps ahead of them, and they're just still chilling. So I guess it depends on the relationship overall. If the guy is okay with the woman thinking 20 steps ahead, or not.
Yeah, and I wonder for guys if it may be just a genetic thing. I find when I'm thinking about so many different things, it can be a source of anxiety because you want to make sure you do. I think guys are groomed to make sure they do all things right. Or correct. So if you're trying to have all those juggle so many different things, something is bound to fall through.
So you're saying men are genetically predisposed to do all things right, and that when women think 20 steps ahead, we're not thinking about doing all of them right at the same time? Or we're just thinking about getting them done without...
I think getting them done.
No.
I mean, no?
No, women are constantly thinking about things, but we're also thinking about how we can effectively accomplish them. It's not just about getting a task off.
Effect doesn't necessarily mean right, though.
But neither does what the guy's doing either. Because he might take his time and think he's putting the right thought into the process of getting it right, and he's getting it wrong the whole entire time because he was off track to begin with.
Wrong the whole time?
No, not wrong. Not wrong all the time. No, not wrong all the time. But in some instances where they might be thinking they're doing the right thing, they might be totally off base because they're not sure because they haven't communicated.
Okay. So how should they come together? So how should they come together then?
I mean, I think if it's something that's a huge undertaking or something that's very important to either individual, they really should just come together and sit down and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, and here's the steps I believe it's going to take. And this is the part I need you to play in that. And what do you think?
Oh, okay. So and I'm just posing this question out there. Could it be possible for women, since they're talking about so many different things, to maybe meet the man and they're thinking in the middle to just focus on the one thing or maybe two things, and as opposed to all the things?
I think we compromise in theory to the man, and we make him believe that we're meeting them in the middle for the one or the two
Believe,
things.
right.
Right, because it's easier to do that than to say, okay, we know you're gonna fail at this, not all the time, but sometimes. And so we're just gonna not listen to what you have to say and,
Right.
and go over you with the 50 things that we wanna do. So we lead you guys on a little bit to make you believe that we're
Because
compromising.
the thing is, that's what you see, like men excel so well in sports, right? But they're focused on the one thing,
Right.
the winning, the championship. That's it.
That's it.
They're
But
not
women
fo-
are like that in sports as well. Look at the U.S. soccer team.
That's true.
Women.
So if somehow we got to where you focus on the one thing, I mean, relationships might win more.
They might win more.
Might win more.
They might win together more.
Together, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna stay with that.
Okay.
So we're gonna pick another
You
one.
pick the next one.
I'll pick the next one.
Yes.
Let's see. All right, that question. Ooh, this is a tough one.
Okay.
How important is it for one parent to stay at home with the children? Ooh.
That is tough because, there's that whole anything he can do, I can do, and the whole Me Too. And you have a generation of women who may have been raised in single family homes with just the mom. And they were taught at a very young age that you can do whatever you need to do without, a guy, so you can have your kids in daycare or what have you. But for me, I grew up in an era where my mom was home.
Okay.
And not only was my mother home, but my father's mother, my grandmother, would come and stay with us in the afternoons as well, since my dad worked. I think it shapes a child a little bit differently. It gives them a broader sense of family and commitment, because they do have somebody that's really there with them the whole entire time, as opposed to saying both parents work and then they're in the daycare system and then the parents only see them in the evening.
Right.
And the parents are stressed and anxious from work, and then they're
Yep.
like, okay, let's have dinner and you go to bed. And so they're really only seeing their kids, maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. And of the 2 and 3 hours that they're seeing them, it's an hour and a half and then maybe an hour and a half bedtime routine. So I think it's important that one of the parents is home at least in the formative years. With myself, I worked. And
right. You worked, okay.
I worked. And my husband worked as well, but our schedules, when we had our daughter, we talked about it. And it was either I was going to stay home until she was 5,
Okay.
or if he could possibly change his work schedule to work nights, where he was with her during the day and then I would be with her at night, that would be more, more opportunity, like it would be a better
Yeah.
opportunity for us.
Right.
So he was able to change his schedule. So
Okay.
he works nights and I work during the day. And
Right.
so we always have one parent at home with the kids. So they're very open.
Okay.
They're very communicative with us. They let us know things that are bothering them right off the bat. There's a better sense of security for them because they know that they're never alone. So, I don't have any disrespect towards, the families where both parents are working and they
Right.
see their kids at, circumstances are always going to be circumstances for different families. But for my family, because of the era I grew up in, because of what I was shown as a child, I needed that for my kids.
Right. So oddly enough, funny story. My wife stayed home with our first 2 children, Olivia and Max, and then I stayed home
Hi.
with Nicholas.
Okay.
So
You get to play
we
with
always
your
used to you always used to joke there was the stark contrast between the two that stay home, because even when my wife stayed home with my first 2, I'm sure she had a schedule on
Right.
what they, how they do, what they did, how they would go to there, they would
Right.
go get cupcakes, they would go to the library,
Right.
and a little bit more freedom,
With you.
I hope you're not watching yet, sweetie, but yeah, a little bit more freedom, and so it's definitely you can see the difference, and it could be maybe younger sibling as well, but he's a little bit wilder, a lot more. I can't even think of some of the things, but no, he's a lot more wilder, and it could be because he was younger,
Right.
a little bit sassy, more than the other
Yeah.
2, and so I just wonder if that makes a difference. But one of the things that we we did think it was important
Yeah.
that our parents stayed home
Yeah.
with the kids. You know, it might have affected from a financial standpoint.
Right.
Just because, you know, if one person's not working,
Yeah.
you know, you're kind of losing that salary, especially here on the East Coast. It makes a
Right.
difference.
Huge difference.
But I think we wouldn't trade that in
Yeah.
for one, the time that you got, and two, being able to just impart your own, what you've been passed down to you, to
Right.
them, and that's something that they'll always remember when, you know, when
Yeah.
they decide they want to, you know, want to be parents.
Yeah.
I think for me, the hardest part,
Of being away during the day is that I missed all
the first steps, you know, the first time they
rolled over, the first time
Right.
they crawled, and he would call me at work and say, "Oh, Ariana took her first steps," and I'm like, "Don't call me and tell me that.
Right,
Just
right.
let me come home and see it and act like it was brand new for me."
Brand new, right?
You know, don't do that.
Man, he messed it up for
He
you.
messed it up for me, and so bad. But you know, I got over it. But and there's a difference, you know. But for my case, what I used to do is, and if you could ask him, and if he was here, he would tell you, I would leave detailed lists, like lists,
Detailed lists.
detailed lists at 7:08 a.m. like
Wow.
to the minute.
What?
Of this is what I need you to
Just
do.
no freedom.
No freedom. And then when he went to the doctors, if there was a doctor's appointment and I was at work and he had to take the kids, this is what I need you to ask the doctor, and I need you to write the answers in this section, and then I need you to take a picture of it and send it to me so I know what the answers were from the doctor.
That's just.
Yeah, I kind of had to stop that when the doctor snatched my husband's phone from
Yeah,
him
it makes sense.
and got on the phone with me and said, "Mrs. Dempsey, don't send your husband with any more lists. If there's a concern, I'll call you."
Yeah, see?
He's like, "Goodbye," and he hung up on
So
me.
that goes to that whole, that
Yeah.
just goes to that whole
Yeah.
non-compartmentalization
Thinking
thing.
too many
Yes.
things. But I mean, I did it with everybody. Even if I dropped them off with my mother or a friend,
Oh, okay.
there was a detailed list for everything.
So it might be you then?
It might just be
Oh,
me.
gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty. Let's
Yes.
see. Should we do another one?
Yes.
It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn to pick?
Yes.
I'm going to do like you do and just, I'm going to,
Let's pick one.
okay.
Is it more important for communication to
Be authentic or kind?
Ooh.
What do you think?
Is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn.
Oh, authentic or kind.
I answered first last time.
That's a tough one. Because authentic means you're going to say whatever you need to say
Right.
all the time.
Right.
And that could be good and bad. I think you have to really know the person and how they view how their communication style is.
Okay.
So if you're someone that is kind of a relator, and that's someone that kind of just goes with the flow, and you are a person that is, let's say you are a doer, and you're used to doing, and if that person's not doing what you need them to do, and you communicate in that style, that person's going to be withdrawn, I think, and it's going to really be tough for them to really voice their opinion, and that could be detrimental. You know, so and if someone's a thinker too, they're going to really, it's going to take them time to process, and you're like, oh, and you're going to get mad. That person that's authentic, and you say, are you present? You know, my spouse is not present, because it takes them 2-3 days for them to respond.
Preach it to the choir.
You know, and so it's like, what's up with that?
Right.
You know, but there's got to be some of that somewhere. If the person is, you know, kind all the time, you're gonna be like, does this person ever get mad? Do they have a pulse? You know,
Are they fake?
you know, yeah, you're
Right.
fake. You have
Right.
a pulse,
Right.
and I can nothing mad, and they may even try to do things to get them mad.
Right.
And so what's the point of that? Is it, you know, I think there's got to be a fine balance, and it really just falls into what type of relation or type of style you are.
So I don't
Think the two have to be separate. I think you can be authentic and kind at the same time. I think the kind part really boils down to the words that you choose in which to communicate whatever
okay.
it is. So I can be very authentic and brash, and that's not being kind, or I can use words that I know would be more receptive to my husband or whomever I'm speaking with.
Right.
Not to say that if he takes 3 or 4 days to get back to me, I'm not going to get upset. However, I believe that my communication was authentic and kind because I used words that didn't objectify him, that didn't, really belittle him, emasculate him, just a kinder, softer approach, but very authentic. So I think the two can actually live in the same house, of communication style. And yes, it's true, you need to know a person's communication style. I'm a very direct individual, and I've learned that before, I used to be not so kind, but very authentic.
Okay.
And now I think from growing up and being married and going through a lot of the challenges that we've gone through, I've learned how to say what I need to say authentically, but in a very kind manner. So I've changed. Sometimes we have to, like you said, we have to adapt to their communication style. So I've learned that my communication style was horrible for everybody but me. It was great for me.
Okay.
Because I got everything off my chest and I was like, and deal with it. That's how I said to everybody, this is who I am, 24/7, 365. You don't like it, too bad. And then I went, I had a professional development coach for my career. And he's like, you're going to have to care about what people think eventually. And you're going to have to care about how they receive the information, especially because I'm pharmaceutical sales. So I had to go and speak to doctors. So I couldn't just say what I had to say, even though it was authentic.
Right.
I could alienate the doctor and they would never want to talk to me again. So I had to learn to care, to be kind, but authentic at the same time. So I do think they can live in the same wheelhouse.
I need to add a little bit more of that authenticity, because I think more of a, I guess, nature of a kind nature, and to try to add that can be a little tough, except with the kids. The kids kind of bring out that authenticity.
Yeah.
And so
without
it's
the kindness. I will tell them, hey.
Definitely without the kindness.
Yeah, definitely without the kindness. I'm authentic with them all the time. Not so
My wife was like, you need to be a little more kinder to them, and I'm like, no, that's not. No.
I think
it's too hard.
When my kids start going to my husband more for
things, I've realized that I've been a little too authentic.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, that could be tough.
He's the kinder one.
That could be tough.
It's okay for me though. It gets them off my chest.
That's great. So that's a couple of those here. I think we had a kind of a topic from the week of the topics that we sent out. So
we did.
What was that?
So the topic of the week, was from our couples convo that you post on Facebook. On the brink of divorce, would you rather be miserable and financially comfortable, or broke and uncertain about your future? It's tough. Is there really a right answer there?
I mean, because you're already on the brink of divorce, so no matter where you are, it could be rough. Right. So I know we talked about it, and I said I would take the side of the comfortable,
right,
and secure.
Right.
And you're gonna take the broke.
I'm gonna take the broke and uncertain.
Take the broke
I'm
and
taking
miserable.
the broke and no, miserable and financially secure, broke and uncertain.
Why you want to be broke?
I'd rather be broke and uncertain than to constantly be dealing with misery, because misery wears you down. It wears you down emotionally, physically. It's not good for anybody else. You start doing things differently. Your kids notice, if you have kids. And it affects your whole entire life, how you are at work, how you are with other relationships. So I'd rather be broke and uncertain, because I know that when I get to that spot where I'm financially secure again, I did it on my own, I can be proud of myself and move on.
Yeah, but you're gonna be miserable
regardless,
and financially secure, right? Mm-hmm. So more likely you're not even gonna be in the same room. Like, you're not gonna be sleeping in the same room, right? Because you're miserable. So
you're miserable.
Even the sight.
Right. So, but you got your money.
But then you can kind of hang out and maybe have a little something on the side, or dating, right?
How's that work?
Well, look, what do you mean? How does it work?
I mean, you're saying that you're gonna be financially secure.
That's right.
And miserable. So they're both staying in the same residence.
Yeah,
and they're both going to live separate lives.
That's where the miserable part comes in.
Yeah.
So you live in separate lives, so it's not like you guys say, honey, I'm not going to be home tonight, right? You just kind of, if you just stay, maybe you're staying at work late,
Okay.
going out,
Okay.
hanging out,
Right.
and
So you're like roommates at this point,
yeah,
but
basically.
miserable. But you're still miserable. So there's a part of you that's not a roommate-esque.
Well, what's what's the miserable part? The miserable part is that it's got to be you're making the choice to do it.
Okay.
You're making the choice for either for the kids or because you like what was posed out there on the page. You're in the East Coast, so it's cheaper.
It's cheaper to keep her.
The cheaper to keep her. It's so funny. No one says it's cheaper to keep him.
No.
Right?
Yeah, no.
How come nobody says that?
I don't know.
It's cheaper
I
to
could
keep-
say that. It's cheaper to keep. Like, I could say that.
Right.
I mean, I think it just depends on the situation.
But
And
how come that phrase isn't out there though?
I don't know, because most of the time it was always the men that was driving. Men that were driving divorces.
That's trending differently now.
It's trending differently now, yes. But if you think about the era and when divorce was
When that
really
came
put into
out?
play, when it came into,
Yeah.
it was always the man that was driving the divorce proceedings, and so he wanted out because he was having an affair and he wanted a better life, and he fell in love with some floozy named Sally that worked at his job. So came home, I don't love you anymore, I want a divorce. But then women started saying, okay, I'm taking half your stuff.
Right.
So, and then he's like, oh, okay, so it's cheaper to keep her.
And things are changing now.
Right.
Shout out to Esther Perel. She wrote a wonderful book about, kind of cheating and stuff
Right.
like that. And, so things are, they say women are having extramarital affairs, not just as much, but pretty close
Probably.
to men now. So,
Probably more.
yeah.
Probably more. It's just as close as probably the ones that people talk about.
And so it may be cheaper to keep him
It
because,
might be cheaper to keep
he
him.
might be the one staying home with the kids.
He might be.
And
She might have a higher paying.
higher paying job, right? And
She-
so that if he's not in the picture, so she has to adjust some of her
Right.
lifestyle. Oh,
So then everything's done outside of the house because, she can't bring new beau home.
Right.
He can't bring new girl home.
right,
So I guess that's where the misery comes in, because I think if you make the choice to do this for whether it be the children or it's cheaper to keep him or her,
Yeah.
to be fair, then you can't be miserable about your choice. You made the choice.
right. I mean, and people are they're still taking the kids into account
Right.
and deciding that this can't be done.
Right. I mean, it's hard to pull parents away from their kids.
Right.
My parents divorced when I was 13. So I remember what it felt like, and I was 13. So I had my parents in my life at 13 years old. But now a lot of the times, like I said earlier today in the show, people don't stay married long. So 3, 4, 5 years, the kids are still very young.
Right.
And that's when they're really starting to make connections with their other parent.
Right,
So
absolutely.
it might be harder for them to say,
Right.
I just want to leave the home. So yeah,
Right. Okay.
makes sense.
Well, that was great. We're gonna
Yeah.
kind of end the show with a little fun
Oh,
because
gosh. I always get worried.
It's getting that was great. Getting close to Valentine's Day, so we'll talk about Valentine's next week. But we wanted to end since it's all about love.
Right.
What are your top 5 love songs?
So my top 5 love songs would have to be Giving You the Best That I Got,
By Anita Baker.
By Anita
Who just
Baker.
turned 60.
who just turned 60.
Shout out Anita.
Shout
Happy
out to
birthday.
her.
Okay.
Diva, love her. She's the greatest. It would have to be If It's Love by Kem and Chrisette Michele.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who? Kim. Oh, Kim.
Kem.
Yes.
Kem.
Oh, yes. Good song.
It's a really, really good song.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I can't even remember. I don't know. I think I had some, but I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do Your Love Is King by Sade.
Oh, very nice.
It's a very nice one. That's 3.
Sade. I used to have a big Sade poster on my wall.
Did you? I saw her.
Full length.
I
When
saw
I
her
got
in
married, that
concert.
had to get taken.
Yeah, that had to get taken down. You can't have any pictures of women.
Yeah, that had to
I
get
know.
taken
I had to
down.
take down all my pictures of like Idris Elba and all the other
Oh,
good
goodness.
guys. But of course, Stevie Wonder, almost everything that he does.
Okay.
But and then one more, because Stevie is other. I think Luther. I would say A House Is Not a Home.
House is Not a Home. Okay.
What about you?
Mine all have love in the title. As
Good Lord.
yes, we both do Deserve Each Other's Love by LTD.
Okay. That's
Right?
a good one. That's a good one.
All This Love by DeBarge.
Oh my gosh.
I used to sing
You're
that in
going
the
old
mirror.
school. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
With a brush?
Maybe not a brush. Maybe a pick.
With a okay. I
knows?
can't. That's way back. Tube of toothpaste.
Now I have a newbie, a new got Love Inside by BJ the Chicago Kid.
Oh,
So you don't know anybody, you know.
I don't know about that one.
Avant-garde.
Yeah, that I don't know that one.
Love's in Need of Love Today. That's, you know, Stevie Wonder,
Yes.
of course. And All About Love by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's a good one.
Great.
I love
So,
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Hopefully, if you guys know those songs, play them tonight. It's a good Friday. It's cold here on the East Coast.
And cuddle up.
Let's cuddle up, get some tea or coffee.
Watch a
If you have
movie.
a fire, you know. Yeah,
Ooh,
Netflix and
fireplace.
chill.
Netflix and chill.
And so,
I just found out what that meant
okay.
the other day.
All right.
And my son, who's 10, said it, and I said, "You will never say that again.
Oh.
Never say that
That's
again."
not- that's
I'm
bad.
so not savvy
That's
on
bad,
all
right.
this stuff.
So, you know, if you're, you know, interested and you want to leave a comment, you could follow me on Striving Relationships on Instagram.
Yep.
Or Strive to Succeed in Marriage on the group Facebook page. You have any shout outs?
Everybody knows my page. All my friends know me because
Yes.
I'm awesome. No, I would say definitely if you're linking to my page, you'll see where I've answered some of the couples convos. Just jump in and be a part of the conversation. Instagram. And, you know, definitely check us out because this is going to be a happening place to be.
Yeah, we're looking to develop a page, you know, a little later. You know, shout out to Howard Jones, who's on, you know, behind the scenes
Thank you,
helping
Howard.
us. And we're really looking forward to doing this again.